You're entering VTV's Chamber Zone, your business community at work, representing the Vernal area and Duchesne County Chambers of Commerce. Here's Adam Massey and Irene Hansen.
You do a good job, and when you give it to them, you never have to worry about it. It's taken care of.
Right.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Irene Hansen with the Duchesne County Area Chamber of Commerce. That's a mouthful. But with me today is Adam Massey with the Vernal Area Chamber of Commerce. Kudos for having a shorter name. You're watching Chamber Zone, your business community at work. Well, Adam, we always have a blast when we come together.
We do, yep.
They can hardly shut us up long enough to do the segments because we're just having so much fun visiting. And,
absolutely.
you know, my goodness. There's so much going on, and you know we kind of have to give a tip of the hat, and we do this often, but we have to talk about our energy partners.
Absolutely.
You know, one of the things we're going to talk about today, of course, is the Aquatic Center that became a reality because of Crescent Point giving kind of a foundational donation.
You bet.
And with that, there's a lot of other things that are going on in the energy sector.
Sure.
You know, they embrace new technology so readily that I don't know any other industry that is so ready to just, something new comes out, it's proven, it becomes best practices, they embrace it, which makes them, first of all, really leaders in the environmental community
They
in
really
many
are.
ways.
Absolutely.
But you even, you know, you brought a publication that comes to your chamber. Share with us some of those things that are on the horizon for energy.
You know, it was really interesting, Irene, and of course, you know, preaching to the choir when they talk about energy and everything to our chambers and to us, because we know that's really the backbone of our area.
It is.
It's what makes everything else go, and you know, I know I've heard the commissioners say it's 60% of the economy. In one way or another, it's tied to just about everything.
It is.
And so, you know, it was really interesting. I had got this the other day. It's called Free Enterprise Quarterly, which comes out, and it's through the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. And it just happened that in this particular issue, they were talking about energy and the environment, and you know, and some numbers that I'll just throw out, and we can talk a little bit about it. But they list it here and there, and it talks about 284 billion billion is the amount of unconventional oil and gas that was added to the gross domestic product in 2012.
Wow.
And those numbers are huge. And I know they just released numbers the other day from December of 2013 that our imported oil was down and our domestic oil was up like 13%. I mean, it was just huge. And so we're starting, you know, we've been talking for a long time about getting energy independent and what that not only does for our areas, but what it does for our country as a whole too. I mean, when things are doing well in our area, usually the state's doing well also. So those are huge numbers. And 2.1 million was the number of jobs supported by unconventional gas in 2012. 1 million is the number of additional jobs that could be created by 2018 by expanding development of oil and natural gas, as well as by building the Keystone Pipeline.
Yes.
So just a couple of other things, you know, when you're talking about 1 million new jobs, and we know, and we've mentioned this before with the EIS that's going on out here for transportation, you know, as industry came and said, hey, we can double production by, you know, in the next 20 years, and we can double the amount of people that are going to be here. But transportation is a huge issue that they're looking at right now as we look at these kind of numbers. And 1.9 million number of construction jobs that could be created if permitting delays and other obstacles were removed from proposed energy projects. And you know, this is coming from, it's not
this
from...
This is a federal level.
Yeah, it's a federal level.
It's just you and I.
Exactly. We're not standing up, beating our chests, saying, hey, you know, get out of the way, let us go to work. This is numbers that are coming from them. And so I was impressed when I seen that because, you know, we talk about it all the time. And, you know, obviously we have the state's attention now because the state's talking about it. They realize the great benefit that it is to the state. And then now they're starting to see it on a national level too, which is fantastic. And, you know, Commissioner Burns, and I spoke this when we were coming from our state chamber board meetings a while back. One of the gentlemen from the Utah County Chamber, Cody Stewart, had came and presented, and he talked about our area and all that we do with regulation and federal lands and state lands and SITLA and different things that we have. And his comment to me as we left that day and we were headed from the Capitol Hill down to the Salt Lake Chamber where we were holding our meetings, he said, gosh, when they talk about federal lands and all the regulations, it must just make your blood boil. And when we got back down to the Salt Lake Chamber that afternoon, because I was conducting the meeting, I said, I expressed to them what he had asked me, and I said, just to give you an update, with the 77 leases that were pulled a few years ago that people hear us talk a lot about,
right.
Commissioner Burns had told me that 6 of those leases were reinstated in Carbon County, and the 6 leases that got reinstated sold for $48 million. And one of the gentlemen in the audience said, that was just for the sale. That doesn't include production.
That's right.
Or the other jobs that are created off that. So as you and I know, there again, we understand it as well as anybody, what a huge player they are in our area here, and we're grateful for them.
We are. Now, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more. Of course, we can tell the energy stories till the cows come home, because we're experiencing it firsthand, the great way of doing business, the technology they embrace, the hard work that it is, and the great employees that live in our area, the generations of people that are involved in energy. We have a lot to talk about, but we'll be right back to talk more about your local chambers of commerce and our community events right after this.
Almost 45% of the oil produced in Utah, 7.8 million barrels, comes from Duchesne County. That oil feeds our state economy, provides job growth, and supports local business. Here in Duchesne County, we're working to make Utah an economic, cultural, and technological leader. Whether you're here for business or pleasure, Duchesne County will welcome you with open arms and invite you to explore all the beauty of the Uinta Mountains. Duchesne County, close enough for business, far enough to get away.
Welcome back to Chamber Zone, your business community at work. We've been talking about our industry partners, and I think we both beam with pride. Newfield announced back in February about $134,000 that they gave out to over a dozen charities. They had a wonderful luncheon and a picture in the newspaper. It wasn't even a week after that Crescent Point donated $250,000 to the Roosevelt Aquatic Center. And, you just can't really talk highly enough. One of the things that Crescent Point said in that meeting, Adam, we had a nice little luncheon for them as they gave that donation to Roosevelt City. They said, we're here for the long haul.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they with great pride about the local employees.
Yeah.
And I think something like that is, as I got up to address them, I told them, I said, what, you guys have a great story to tell, and we love to tell our story, which means that we talk about the prosperity and the jobs and the great things that you do in our community, and how you really do everything and hold things to the very highest standards. We are so appreciative of what they do. The community members, I know Anna Darko, a great Vernal Chamber member.
Yeah.
And we have to encourage our partners, our energy partners, gosh, join your local chambers, because we are your advocates.
Absolutely.
We love you. We're going to tell your story. We're proud of what you do. But get involved. I think Anna Darko is a great story about getting involved in the Vernal Chamber. But tell me some of the things that you see happening this year. How can we bring that to even a higher level to make sure that we're engaged with industry and that we're telling their stories and that they're active in our communities?
Well, and I know one thing that you do, and the Vernal Chamber's tried to mold ourselves a little bit that way. We have what we call a legislative committee, and any legislation, and you've been doing it for years, Irene, any legislation that comes up that we think would affect our industry here. We try to be those champions, just like you said.
Yeah.
We go out to the legislative sessions, we go and tell our stories, just like you said, because we realize how important and what great community partners they are. They're not here, they give back to the community. They're not here just to take. They employ people, but they also turn around and reinvest that money back in the community.
That's right.
And those are the kind of community partners that you want, and they are responsible and they do a great job at what they do. The new technology, as you mentioned earlier, they're the first to come out with that. What can we do? How can we maximize this with minimal risk to where we're operating? And you know, last year, I'll just say this real quickly, when that energy tour was brought out by the Salt Lake Chamber,
Yes.
you know, I still get people that come up to me talking about that. Senator Maine from representative out in the Salt Lake area. Just recently I was in a meeting that she attended, and you know, she's a Democrat, so I thought maybe not that supportive of the energy industry. Totally wrong. I got an education that day. We always talk about educating people. She educated me. She said, I want you to know how supportive we are of your energy industry. We know when you're doing well, the state of Utah is doing well as a whole. You're hiring people, they're good paying jobs. These people are doing it right. I came on the energy tour, meaning she did, and she said, I was so impressed with the way, and we've got other people that maybe we would have thought wouldn't have been supportive of our area, but they are, because they understand, they get it, and they understand the cooperation and working together. And you mentioned this earlier in one of our other programs, but we've got great officials and great people from our area that are constantly out there telling these stories and educating people and getting them to come and see for themselves instead of making a judgment based on somebody that doesn't really know what's going on.
And just recently, you probably saw the new consumer guide that just came out in the Basin Standard and the Vernal Express. Well, what's on the front of the cover except the beautiful Main Street?
Yeah.
And so, you know, you really can't talk about energy and what it does for our economy without looking and seeing what has been going on in Roosevelt and Vernal. Of course, the new Aquatic Center, we're so excited to have that winter, a good healthy way in the winter to stay fit. But again, look at what's happening in Vernal now. This spring, I see the Joann's Fabric sign up and will be open very, very soon. But we have some great new retail opportunities. And you know what? That helps keep the money here.
It does.
Because now we won't have people having to leave the Basin for all of our shopping.
Sure.
We'll have some great opportunities for... So you've got to brag a little bit. What is going to be happening in the next 60 days? Everybody asks me, it's time to go right to the horse's mouth.
You know, we're excited. Recently, Cold Stone ice cream is coming, and you know, and I love it too. So I'll have to definitely be careful with that one. But as you mentioned, Joann's, TJ Maxx is also going to be opening, and also a Sportsman's Warehouse. So you know, like you said, the idea is to keep the money here. And you know, we have great businesses that have been in business a long time, and we really appreciate those businesses. And sometimes you forget how much you appreciate them until they're not there.
That's right.
So let's make sure that we, in both communities, we get out and support those existing businesses, and go support the new businesses too. You can support them all, and you know, we're great to have them because we don't want to lose those dollars to Salt Lake or Grand Junction or Rock Springs or anywhere else. Let's keep that Basin money in the Basin, and it benefits us all when we do.
It does, because that's what pays for the beautiful flowers in Roosevelt, Vernal, and Duchesne. That's what pays for a lot of the infrastructure, our golf courses, pools, and other things, is that sales tax dollar working hard at home. So again, go visit some of our wonderful downtown businesses. Don't forget them. But again, check out these new businesses when they come. You'll be delighted. You know what? That's it for today's Chamber Zone, but join us next time right here on VTV. Thank you, Adam, and have a great week.
Thank you, Irene. It's great to be here.